Let's focus on local governance now. Following yesterday's chaotic Johannesburg Council meeting, the Gauteng Cooperative Governance MEC, Lebogang Maile, has given the Speaker of the city 7 days to report back on the sitting. Maile has written a letter to the City of Joburg's Speaker, Vasco Da Gama, requesting a report on the collapse of the council meeting. He says yesterday's events are disturbing and have placed the city's governance in peril. He joins me now, does the MEC, Lebogang Maile, for that conversation. So, MEC, the scenes of chaos that we saw yesterday at the first sitting of 2022 had all of us concerned because, you know, this was, it's shortly after the elections happened in November last year, and I imagine that residents want to get on with the business of, bettering their lives. But we saw what happened yesterday, and you are concerned enough to be demanding a report from the Speaker.
Thank you for having me to this. Good afternoon to you and the viewers at home. Yes, certainly we are very concerned as the provincial government. We know that most of the municipalities, and in fact all the metros, there is a coalition arrangement between different political parties, which is fine, but that shouldn't be used as an excuse to disrupt the functioning of municipalities. As you will know that in terms of the constitution, the legislative and executive authority of a municipality rests with the council. So if at that level, which is the highest level of a municipality, they can't find each other and they can't adhere to the decorum, which is expected of public representatives of their stature, it is a point for concern for the provincial government.
So this was a meeting that was meant to, elect various office bearers in as far as the committees are concerned. Do you believe that the disruption and the failure to carry on with the business, that particular aspect of business, has implications for governance and for service delivery?
Yes, there is no doubt. Those committees are important. As I've said, that council is the highest executive and legislative authority. What it means is that whenever the mayoral committee or any committee of council has to process reports, they must process them through those committees. And because those committees are not yet in place, it might actually mean that council has not actually started executing its responsibilities. And that's why we want to make sure that all councils, because this, I think, is the last council without those relevant committees in place. We want to make sure that all our councils have got the relevant committees in place, and they start with their task of service delivery. We will be meeting with all the different mayors just to agree on how to work together as a provincial government and the municipalities. And there are service delivery matters that needs councils working with us to fast track. For instance, the issue of title deeds. There are certain decisions that councils have to take. So if councils are not able to meet and correct, or rather conclude their businesses, it means we will continue to lag behind in so many areas of service delivery.
Naturally, in an environment like this, MEC, there's a lot of finger pointing. You'll have the DA-led coalition pointing at the ANC and the EFF, and the EFF returning the favor and pointing at the other side. From your preliminary observation, what was the main contributor to the breakdown of the meeting?
Well, we are told the issue was whether they should be voting or not voting. But because there is a speaker of council, that's why we've written to the speaker and we did not write to. political parties, because the Speaker of Council should be the custodian of the rules of the Council, including the relevant legislation that governs the operations of councils. So we thought we should rather ask for a formal report and explanation, and then we can be able to interact with the Speaker and, if needs be, with the political parties in councils. But our first point of entry is the Speaker of Council as the custodian of rules of council.
And is this not a pretext for you to be trigger happy like you were in the case of Tshwane, which ended badly for you at the Constitutional Court?
Well, firstly, it didn't end badly.
It did.
I would urge you to... No, it didn't.
It absolutely did,
we can have a discussion now about the Concord judgment. In fact, that judgment, the three judgments, there was two judgments which agreed with us, one judgment that did not agree with us. There were 5 judges who agreed with us, 5 judges who did not agree with us.
That mathematics doesn't matter, MEC, but in any case, let's focus on the... It's mathematics, MEC. The majority judgment is the judgment of the court. But I don't want us to get sidetracked.
No, it's not true.
Someone would say, is this not a pretext for you to be trigger happy like you were in Tshwane?
No, I'll come to that, but it's not true. I know that you want to believe a certain perspective, which is not true. And I'm saying to you, and I will challenge you to even invite an independent panel where I'm not part, or as government, we are not part, to look at that Concord judgment. In fact, there are a lot of victories for us in that Concord judgment. And one of the things the Concord judgment has instructed us is that we must investigate Tshwane. And there are a lot of issues there. So I wouldn't take your opinion, which is not based on fact.
That's fine, MEC.
On that judgment.
I'm okay with that. Yes, let's proceed on the question.
Yeah. No, it's certainly not a pretext for any dissolution or whatever. That's not our orientation. We don't want to, even in Tshwane, we were forced to. And that's why we are firstly seeking clarity on the proceedings, what happened, and the intention is to really facilitate that there must be a conducive condition for the operations in council. We are not going to force political parties to agree on any matters, but we have a responsibility in terms of Section 154 of the Constitution to support municipalities, and we are simply exercising that responsibility. We are not even thinking, in fact, you can't even think about dissolving council merely because councillors are disagreeing,
right,
and they did not conclude one meeting. So we are not even there. Tshwane was different, and the Concord judgment actually, by the way, the Concord judgment, including that judgment which says we acted harsh. It did not say we were wrong in intervening. It just said we acted harsh, by the way. That's what the judgment says in simpler terms of Tshwane. So we are very rational, and we will continue to exercise our constitutional responsibilities as the provincial government without fear or favor.
The Concord judgment asked whether the circumstances warranted dissolution of the council, and answered it and said the simple answer is no, from what I've read. But in any case,
No, you didn't read. You didn't read. You didn't read. I read the judgment. I have it.
Well, MEC, you cannot contend that I didn't read it. We can disagree on what we take out of what we are both reading.
Yeah, you're not speaking like someone who read it.
Okay, I accept that. That's perfectly fine, MEC. And I'm always happy to have this conversation with you, by the way. But I'm glad that we were able to focus on the situation in the city of Joburg and clarify what it is that you are seeking at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Always good speaking to you.
MEC Lebogang Maile is the MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs here in Gauteng. Don't worry about it. Nothing is wrong. This is how MEC Maile and I always engage. So